I'm gonna give you 3 key elements behind having a vertical finish with the Olympic lifts, and we're gonna start right now. What's up, everybody? I'm Dane Miller from GarageStrength.com, and if this is your first time to the channel and you are interested in becoming a better athlete, getting stronger, being more explosive, becoming more coordinated, comment down below with whatever it is you're training for. Make sure you like, you subscribe, and you ring that notification bell. So over the last 10 years in Olympic weightlifting, we've heard over and over again, hey, hit that vertical finish. We gotta stay vertical. And this doesn't make sense. And the biggest thing behind why it doesn't make sense is telling someone to do something is not instructive. It's not really saying like, hey, if you do this, this is the result. You're just saying, lift more weights. It's the exact same comparison. Hey, I want to put 5 kilos on the bar. I want you to lift it. That's great. But if you can provide an instructional cue, you're likely going to have a vertical finish, not just saying have a vertical finish, not just saying squat more weight. That's not the most effective way behind coaching. And so what we've done is we've figured out what are those 3 key elements behind having a vertical finish. So if we can think about what happens in those 3 key positions, what's happening from the floor to the knee, what's happening around the knee, that's the hardest point of navigation in the Olympic lifts, and then from the knee to the hip. And I will refer to floor to the knee. Around the knee is where I call no man's land, because that's where 90% of lifts get lost. The knees don't move as well as they should be, and then the bar is staying forward, and we end up banging or missing these lifts forward, right? Once we get out of that no man's land, at the top of no man's land, right above the knee, about 6 to 8 inches, is what I like to refer to as the reciprocation point. This is when the knees should be coming forward with a flat heel with your chest staying forward. So let's dive into those 3 key elements. So that first aspect is the reciprocation point to the hip. And this is talking about the snatch and the clean. If we can think about just past that knee is the reciprocation point. When the knees start to come forward, that's a pivotal point. That reciprocation point to the hip. What happens? We want to stay on the flat foot. When the bar is getting into our hip, we don't want our heels popping early. If our heels are popping early, now everything is going to drift forward. We'll see that big arced angel where the head gets thrown back, weightlifter jumps back, they'll miss that bar forward. So the big key point with number 1 is get through that reciprocation point to the hip with a flat foot. So point number 2 is that we want to have our chest forward with our knees forward. So a lot of coaches will say you don't want your knees to come forward, because if your knees push forward, now that chest gets back. And that's not the most accurate thing. If we want to have a vertical finish, if we can think about Jin-Chan Kuo, who is the most technical weightlifter on the planet. She has the best precision on the planet. Her knees come forward at the reciprocation point, her knees come forward. But the key aspect here is that her chest stays forward. And what you'll notice is that when the knees come forward, the chest stays forward, and the angle of the shin is almost identical to the angle of the chest. So her shins will come forward because of her knees, and her chest stays forward, and she continues to have a flat foot. So by having a flat foot with the knees coming forward and the chest staying forward, now she starts to ignite that finish, which is going to become vertical. So that third key element behind that vertical finish is understanding what is the final accelerator. Okay, so when the hips are meeting the bar, what's happening? This is key. Oftentimes, for years, we've been taught that final position, what speeds up the bar, is the hips. But what ends up happening is our hips come forward, our knees never extend, our chest comes way back, the athlete's center of mass moves back, and it gets displaced, and to make up for it, they have to jump backwards to get their feet under their center of mass to try and catch that bar. Understanding that the most effective way to have a vertical finish is knowing that your hips will extend first. The hips will come under the torso with a flat foot. Again, flat foot, chest forward, knees stay forward. The hips come under the torso. Then, because the hips extend to finish vertical, the knees will finish. It's a very slight difference. It goes hips, knees, and it's very, very slight. But the knees are the final accelerator. Not only are they the final accelerator for the vertical finish, it's what speeds up and directs the bar properly overhead. Now the upper body also comes into play, where we need to have effectiveness with our shoulders, with our elbows through the finish. But it's first the hips come through and extend, then the knees finish. And again, you can see this in Jin Chang Kuo. It's clear that her hips come under, then the knees extend, and that is what creates that vertical finish. So follow through with the reciprocation point to the hip with a flat foot. Make sure that your chest is staying forward when the knees are also moving forward. That's one of the biggest things that I learned, is it's imperative to keep that chest forward when the knees come forward and have that flat foot. And the final accelerator is the knees after those hips extend. If you want more information behind Olympic weightlifting, you can click on the link down below and pick up our 6 keys behind weightlifting programs for free. If you want more content to help you improve your Olympic weightlifting, you can click on this card right here. That's all for today, guys. Peace.